All right. So thank you so much again for joining me here today and taking time out of your busy schedule to learn more about Travefy. If I have not introduced myself to you before, I am Stephanie. I'm Community Outreach and User Support here at Travefy. So it's likely that we might have talked before. If you ever email into support, you'll likely talk to me. I will also be sending my contact information after this. That way, if you ever do have questions in the future, you know who to reach out to. You can always count on me for help. So just to kind of walk through how this is going to go today, this webinar, it'll last about 20 to 25 minutes with time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. If you ever have a question, you can ask it in the chat box provided. You can find it if you scroll your mouse towards the middle top of your screen. And you'll see a few buttons available, and there will be a little chat symbol, and hopefully, I just chatted in it, hopefully it pops up for you. That's where you're gonna wanna ask questions. Feel free to ask them at any point throughout the webinar. At the end, we'll go over all those questions, so ask them whenever they come up in your head, and then we can go over them later. What we're going to do in today's webinar is we're just going to do a full platform walkthrough. I'm going to show you how you create itineraries on Travefy, how you share them, what they look like on the client's end, and other great features. And then at the end, we'll go over any of those Q&As. So I'm going to switch my screen here. And before we get started, I just want to briefly share a little bit about Travefy. So Travefy is an itinerary and quote builder, as well as a messaging tool, which I'll share with you here. Travefy makes it very easy to quickly build itineraries, but we also make it really simple for you to customize everything in the itinerary. So whether you're trying to create itineraries quickly, we can help you with that, or maybe you're looking for a solution where you can add all of the information that you need to give your clients. We give you that as well. So I'll walk you through here kind of how that works. So I'm going to jump into a trip that I've already started working on. Otherwise, normally you would click on create new trip up here at the top, but I'm going to go into one I've already started working on. One other thing that I want to point out before I dive into this trip is I want to highlight your profile. So right here is your profile. This is really important because every itinerary that you build is going to be branded to your company, your logo, your contact information. That's what makes Travefy unique, is that branded, beautiful itinerary. And this is how we brand it. So you'll want to make sure to put your profile information in here. And this is the information that will end up going on all of your itineraries that you send to your clients. So now let's jump into this trip. So I'm just going to go into this trip here. Now, how you build itineraries on Travefy, well, there's a few ways, but the general idea of Travefy is you always will add events into days. So you'll notice here how there are multiple days here, and I can always add an event into that day. So that's kind of how you build your itinerary in here, is you add events into days, and that's how it's structured out. Now, I'll share with you the few different ways that you can add information to your itineraries. But first, let's go into our main trip information, which is found by clicking on that trip name. And this is where you can update your trip details, like your trip name, a trip start date. You can add pricing. So again, great for that quote building if you want to build a quote or proposal. You can always add the main trip pricing here. You can also add a description in here. But then down here at the bottom, I want to highlight this feature. This feature, email to itinerary, is one of the ways that you can build your itineraries. What this email address does is this allows you to forward in any booking confirmations that you have from other vendors or suppliers. So say, for example, you have a flight confirmation, a booked confirmation that you want to just forward in via this email address. And then what we do is we take that information and put it on your itinerary for you. Now, a couple of different things of how this works. First, you'll want to make sure you always grab the correct email address. Every itinerary that you build, you have a new email address, and that's how we know where to send that information to. So once you forward your original booking email to this Travefy email address, we will then put that information in here for you. So it'll look something like this. So where this says arrive in New York, this is very much what it will end up looking like. You'll see, you know, the airport, the confirmation, price, airline, you know, flight, all that stuff. All of this stuff will appear in here that we can get from your booking confirmation. Another way that you can add information to your itinerary is by using our quick add feature. Now you can use our quick add tool for flights and cruises and hotels. So if I go to this new day, I'm going to show you how this works. I can press new event, and then let's add a flight. So I'm going to press flight. Well, I can add this flight manually, which means I can manually add all of this information in, or I can just simply look up the flight via the airline and the flight number, and then you can choose which leg it is. And then once you have all your flights, you can press add to itinerary. And then all of this information will automatically add to your itinerary. Now, of course, if you ever need to add more information like confirmation numbers, you know, any other notes that you want to add, you can always go into this event by pressing that pencil icon, and then you can go in and you can add, you know, notes, if you want to add pricing, confirmation number, all of this good stuff you can. You'll also notice that we quickly give you this rich information to the place. In this case, it's the Dallas airport. And you can also edit this information if you need. So again, you just press that little pencil icon. And then in here, you can go in, add your own information, remove information. So you can see here that, you know, Travefy makes it really easy to give you information, but then also makes it just as easy for you to customize all that information. One other thing to note about this flight is the cool thing about the flights is you'll notice where it says auto update. This means that we are able to automatically update any changes this flight might have. Now, please note, you'll have to be on Plus or Enterprise for this feature. So if you are on Starter, you will not have this feature. But what it's going to do is it'll always update, you know, the gates, the times, things like that. It's awesome. I personally love this tool. I'm not kidding. It tells me flight or gate changes before the airport does. So it's a wonderful tool, and you can always turn this off if you would like as well. So if you ever, you know, you're like, you know, I don't want it changing without me knowing. So you can just press, you know, automatically update. So you can control that as well. Now, when you're adding things like cruises, you can do it very similar to how I just did with the flight. You can press new event, choose cruise, and then you can actually search for the cruise. See if one comes up here. Sometimes I just have to find because it's on the actual date. So if it were to be on this departing date, you would see where it would say, you know, the 3-night Eastern Caribbean cruise. And then you can just simply add it to your itinerary. And it's going to add all of the ports of call, which is really awesome. So it will add, you know, where it's departing, when it's arriving. And then that gives you the ability to go in and add all of those tours, activities, all that main differences and stuff like that. So that's what's really great about that. You can also quickly add hotels. So if you press new event, you can press lodging, and then you can do this a couple ways. So you can just quickly search for the place you're looking for. You can say Hyatt Regency. Maybe I want this Jacksonville one. I can put in check-in time if I want, a checkout time, checkout date, but all of this is optional. So if I just want to leave it, you know, just with this one, I can always do that too. And then I'll just press add to itinerary. And again, you see it all added in here. And then you can go in, add information, attach the booking confirmation if you wish, you know, add all this information in here. So you can see here, you know, how quickly it is to add things to your itinerary from Travefy's help, whether that's with that email import, if it's quick add flight, cruise, or hotel. But now, if you ever want to add manual information, so things like a tour, I'll show you how you do that manually. So what you'll want to do is let's do a new day here. You'll press new event. We'll do activity in this case. And then you can begin to add your information here. So we could say this is NYC walking tour. We can add a bunch of notes in here. So you can add, you know, some agents will add paragraphs of information here. This is a great place for you to copy and paste that information that maybe you get from your vendor. But you can just say, you know, on this tour, you will see, and then you can list out things. You can attach links. You can say, click here to view more information. and you can highlight this, and then you can actually attach a URL on here. So if you wanted to add a URL, you could. And you can just see here, you can add lots of rich information in here, which is very helpful. You can also add specific times and prices. So I can say this starts at 11:30 a.m., it's 2 hours, and it costs $60. So you can add, all this information here, add photos if you want. And then here's where it gets awesome. So Travefy has a database of millions of places all over the world. So if you ever want to add that rich information, sort of like how that hotel was and how the airport information came in, that's all coming from Travefy's database. And we're pulling that information from sources like Google, Foursquare, TripAdvisor, and other sources like that. So how it works is you can just simply start typing in the name of the place you're looking for. It could be anything from a hotel, a museum, a restaurant, anything that really you can find on a map, you can find in here. So I'm just going to start typing one of the stops on this walking tour, which is Statue of Liberty. So I'm going to start typing Statue of Liberty. And you will notice here, some of this information tries to come up and it's trying to find it for me. So I'm just going to say I want the monument. So now if I click view, I can see all this information that Travefy quickly pulled for me. And of course, you can always edit this if you wish as well. You can also add as many places in here as you want. So if you wanted to add multiple stops, destinations, you can keep typing different things and adding them in here. Now you can also add manual things. So say that, for example, this place, maybe it's not really on a map, or maybe it's something that you can't find in Travefy's database. So something like this, you could say walking tour starts here. And maybe I just want to create a place to put that pin on a map. So what I can do is I can say create a custom place. And now I am starting from scratch here, and I can add all my information. So I can add a picture if I wanted. You can either upload your own, or you can search our database of images here. You can also add that location. So if I wanted to say, New York City, we'll just do this, the first one that I see here. You can add a phone number in here if you want. A description, so maybe arrive 15 minutes early. And then just press done editing. And there you see. There you see, I just quickly built this event. Now let's take it a step further. Say that you spend the time building events. You add photos and info, websites, things like that. Well, why would you want to ever create that again when you've already built it once? So that's why we have what we call our event and content library. This allows you to save information, so you kind of create your own database of information. And you'll see this on the right-hand side of my screen. You see all these places. So this is my content. And I can also toggle to my events. And what this is information that I've already created, sort of like I just did with this walking tour. And then I can just drag and drop this into any itinerary that I create. So just like this. Now, how I do this is you can save this information two different ways. One way is you can save it directly from your itinerary by pressing, the edit button here. So if I wanted to click that pencil icon, and if I scroll right down here at the bottom of this event, it says save to library. So I can press save to library and I can save this information. And now I'll be able to find this by searching in my library over here. So if I'm building a new itinerary, I can drag and drop this into there. You can also add information and manage and store this in your content and event library by going back onto your main dashboard here. And then you can press content library or event library. And this will allow you to create new content and events. Now, the difference between the content and the event, because sometimes that can get confusing, the difference between the two is the event is all of that text information. So things like the price, the notes, the title, and the content is that basically that point on a map. It's going to be like the airport or the museum, or for example, the tasting room, this place here. It's going to be your actual place. So the reason why we give you two separate libraries is because sometimes you just want to add a place and not the entire event. So that's kind of why we have both of those available. So if you want to pull, so we'll go back to this event. If you wanted to pull in a winery, you could just drag and drop the winery onto this event. but maybe you want to actually add the entire event, which is why you have the option to do that. So that's kind of where, you can save that information and just really start to quickly build your itineraries. So now moving on to sending it to your client. So here's where the fun part begins. So when you're ready to send this to your client, you'll go right up here at the top where it says send to client. Now you're going to have a couple different options when sending this to your client. First, you can just simply preview it and see what it looks like on your end. And what you can do is, this is what we call our URL shareable itinerary. This itinerary is just accessed via this URL. And the great thing is this URL never changes. So the cool thing is you can copy this URL, paste it in your own email, put it on your social media network, share it with whoever you want, and they will always be able to go to that URL and see this itinerary. And here's what it looks like. It's going to be completely branded. It's also going to be completely interactive. So what I mean by that is if I click and view details of everything, I can see, pictures and the map. I can scroll through, see everything you've added. If I want to, zoom in on these pictures, I can. If I want to view this content, I can click in there. I can give them a call if I needed. So this is all viewable on a mobile device or website, or a computer, I mean. So anywhere that they have access to the internet, they'll be able to view this itinerary. So that's what's really great about this. It's very easily accessible anywhere. Now, the other option that you can send this to your clients is you can go to email right here. And this is probably my preferred way because it's very easy and simple. You can simply type in the client name, the client email, and then you can include a custom message if you wish, and then press send email. And your client is then going to receive a personalized email that looks like it's coming from you. And it's going to have a picture, your picture, the trip name, and it's going to have a big green button that says view your itinerary. Well, when they view the itinerary, they're going to go here. This is what will automatically open. Now, if you are on a Plus or Enterprise plan, you will have the option to for your client to view their itinerary on the mobile app. We call it the Trip Plans app, is the name of our mobile app. Now, the Trip Plans app is really awesome. Your clients can download it by the email that you send through Travefy, like right here. But here's what the Trip Plans app looks like. The Trip Plans app is completely unbranded. So what we mean by that is your clients are not going to see Travefy. So, we don't even want them to know Travefy exists. We just want them to know your brand exists. So here's what it looks like. It's going to have your logo and your contact information here. And then they're going to see, every day in their itinerary, and they can tap into that day, and then they'll be able to scroll through, view everything you've added, whether it's notes, pictures, websites, phone numbers, anything you've added, they'll be able to access in here. Now, a couple really cool things about this. One, they are able to view this offline. So when they are traveling and they do not have access to the internet, they can still open and view their itinerary on their Trip Plans app. The other cool thing about this is it's also a messaging tool. So there's a messaging component within this app. If you look right here on the screenshot, you'll see that little icon up there at the top. And if they tap on that, they'll be able to message you right into here, right through that app. And you'll be able to respond two different ways. One way is on your app. So you get to download the Travefy Pro app. This app allows you to view all of your client itineraries as well as message them on here. So if you're ever running an errand and your client messages you, it's going to just automatically pop up on your app, on your mobile device, and then you'll be able to just respond right back. You can also respond on the itinerary itself. So if I go right here, I'm in library, but behind library is discussion. And if I tap on discussion, I now can view my entire discussion thread and message them on here. So what's really unique about this and awesome is that if you ever need to make updates to their itinerary while they're away, you can talk to them while you're making updates. And you can say, hey, I just added a new event to your itinerary, go ahead and check it out. And then they can go and view it right then and there. It's an awesome, incredible white glove service that you can offer, and it just makes it very easy to get a hold of each other. Now, something to keep in mind, you can always turn this off. So if you're like, this is great, but I don't want to be on call 24/7, we get it. So what you can do is you can actually go into your trip details, and down at the bottom, you can disable messaging. So if you want to disable it, you can. That's what's really great about that. So they won't even know that they had the opportunity to message you on it. And you can always turn it on and off per itinerary as well. Now, the other way that your clients can view the itinerary is via the PDF. So in this PDF, you can quickly generate and download it. And you have a few options when generating it. So you can make it as long or short as you need it to be. And then once it gets done generating here, I can download. And here's what it's going to look like. And now when you download this, you can either download it, save it on your desktop, send it to your client, or you can print it off and send it to them too. But here's what it looks like. Your first page is going to be basically a cover page of, your logo and trip information here. And then you're going to have a quick trip summary breakdown. So, just a quick overview of everything. And then you're going to have all of the information that you've included laid out. So everything like pictures and notes and confirmation numbers. If you uploaded any PDF documents, that will also come up on here. And you can just see, no matter what way that your client wants to view their itinerary, they'll have the option. So those are the 3 different ways that you can send and share the itinerary to your clients. Now, before I start going into the next step of what is next, how to try out Travefy, I just wanted to highlight one other feature. So I went back out onto my dashboard here, but if I click onto a trip, you'll notice this button that says copy. What this is a way to copy itineraries. So talk about time-saving tool. This will allow you to, if you want to create trip templates and just copy off of those, you can. It's also great when working with groups and you want to create, a trip template for all the travelers, but then you want specific travel information for each traveler. This is a great way to do it too. So that's kind of what that copy feature is. Awesome, great, easy to use. So now, right before I answer questions here, I see a question that came in. But before I answer that, and this will actually help answer it, I want to let you know what you can do next. So if you're ready to give Travefy a try, if you haven't signed up yet, you can sign up by going to travefy.com/pro. And I will also send this in the email follow-up as well. But you'll go to travefy.com/pro, and then you'll just press Start Free Trial. And if you enter your name, email, create a password, press Let's Go, and your account will be created. You don't have to enter your payment information or anything like that. We don't need that. We just want you to get in there and test everything out, see what's below the hood. So once you get in there, you'll have access to try everything. You'll have access to the mobile app and all of that. So you'll be able to try it out in there, and you get it for 10 days. If you need it longer than 10 days, let us know. We're happy to extend your trial. But then when you decide to purchase, you'll have a couple different options in subscriptions. Now, this is going to answer the question that somebody asked about what the difference is with Plus and Enterprise. Well, we have 3 different subscription levels. 2 of them are the main ones. Those 2 are Starter and Plus. Starter and Plus are our 2 popular subscriptions. They are essentially the same. The biggest difference is Plus is going to give you access to that mobile app. There'll also be other features with Plus that you won't find on Starter. But if you are okay with sending a PDF or that URL itinerary to your clients, then Starter will work for you. If you do want access to that mobile app, that's where you'll want to go with Plus. Now, Enterprise is going to be kind of a special tailored package. That is going to be, you'll have to talk to us first, but that's going to give you access to our API and white labeling. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, let me know, and I can always get price and quotes to you.